All right, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom. All right, this is your brother Kazaki out of Great Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? But prior to getting started, we want to give out infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the whole full elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be The Missiles Will Come Through with Perfection, all right? That's the title of today's lesson is going to be the missiles will come through with perfection, all right? So we know that the Lord is doing what he does best, right? He's gathering the nations, okay, together for the ultimate showdown, okay? And the Lord, wants to destroy, Babylon the Great, Israel and certain other land masses, by fire, man. Okay? And this is how he's going to do it, man. All right? As you can see, I just pulled up basically nuclear missiles, all right? And you can see what the Lord has in store, right? Just scrolling through, looking at a few of them, all right? And it's a beautiful, thing from Yahweh Shem Shai, right? To see, truly his work, right? Because really he, even though Esau, Edom, the Edomites, so-called white man, has been used to make these things, the Lord still, takes credit, man. Okay, he takes credit for everything, that's happening within the earth because he's still the author, man. Right? He's still the guy that's pulling all the strings. Okay, the scriptures tell you that the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord, man, and he the one who wills it. Okay, all right. So that the minds of the different kings, these different nobles, all right, they're in the hands of Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, all right. Now it's gonna bring me to my first scripture, which is Isaiah 13 and verse 4. It says, "The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people." It says, "A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations." It says, "Gather together, the Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle," man. So the Lord is the one that's really, truly doing the gathering, all right, for, to make to make this stuff happen, man. To make World War III, pop off, ultimately for the nuclear missiles to get shot off from the ends of the earth, okay? And for, a great destruction for many people, man. Right, these people really are in trouble, you know, and they have no idea. Now I'm gonna get the same verse in the GNT. It says, "Listen to the noise on the crowd of people," right? And it says, the sound of a great crowd of people." It says, "The sound of nations and kingdoms gathering. The Lord of armies is preparing his troops for battle," right? And we couldn't be more excited of the Lord doing this, man. You know, the Lord's really, working the work, you know, paving the way, right? And really prepping and preparing the earth for the return of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? The kingdom of heaven, okay? But these missiles, right, is going to be, spiritually guided, right? It's going to come into its own perfection, so to speak, okay? Right? Because these missiles will have the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai on them to, to basically make ends meet, right? Of these kingdoms, these nations, right? Along with Yahweh Shai doing this thing, right? And and so on, right? Okay, because the Lord's got to bring in the elect of the nation of Israel too, all right? But let me get this next scripture here. Let's go. Matter of fact, let's go here. All right, this is Isaiah 54 and verse 16. And this is the Lord taking the credit, right? From what I was saying earlier, it says, "Behold, I have created the smith, right, that bloweth the coals in the fire." Okay, so the Lord has created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, man. The Lord has really, truly created, these scientists, okay, right? He's created the idea of science, right? The breaking down, the splitting of atoms, right? He's the one that really put it on Esau's spirit to understand these things. Okay. Now he do, we do it by the means in a way, because Esau Edom has his power through the spiritual demon Satan. Okay. But the Lord is the one that's allowing it to happen. That's ultimately, what's going on, right? He's still in power. He's still in control, man. All right. And it says, and that bring it for an instrument for his work, right? And this is the instrument, man. This is that fiery instrument, the smith that blew at the coal in the fire, man. This is it right here. All right, let's see if we could zoom in on there. See that? All right. It's like it. Okay. These destroy whole cities. Okay. A few of these could just devastate, a whole country, man. All right. But this is the Lord's plans. Okay. And these missiles are coming with perfection, man. A beautiful perfection and destruction. Okay. I'm going to go get those points too. Let me finish reading this. It says, and I have created the waster to destroy, right? And, and that's what they do, man. Okay. These missiles are designed to destroy, man. All right. The Lord's created the scientists and the actual capabilities, okay, to make this happen, man. Okay, that's why the Lord said, behold, I come in with fire, and what will I if it already be kindled? Okay. All right, let's go get another precept. Let's see here, let's go here real quick. Oh, wrong slide. Hold on. See here. I actually want to. I'll read down to verse 7, maybe a little bit more, but we're gonna get this real quick out of Joel, the 2nd chapter. All right, this is Joel 2 and verse 1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and it sound an alarm in my holy mountain, right? So we blowing the trumpet, right? We're making the people aware known of the things that's going on and what's to come, right? Through the prophecies, okay? And it says, let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand, right? And every day is another day we come closer to the return of Yahweh Shem Shai, okay? And it says, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, right? So this is, an active description of what the nuclear missiles and how they're gonna come, right? It says as if they are a great people and a strong people, right? And it says, there have not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations, right? So this is the ultimate work, man. The Lord has created these these missiles here, right? And these are going to fulfill his righteous anger, man, his indignation, okay? All right, by destroying all of Babylon the Great, aka America, all right? And the land of Israel gonna get hit too, and that's gonna be wiped off the map too as well. But this is the Lord's work. This is that strong people, man. Let me see. Let's go to this picture here. Okay. This is what the law is speaking about. All right. Let's go back here. And it says, neither shall there be any more after it. Right. Because the law is basically going to destroy, after he takes down the kingdoms of nations, he's going to destroy the weaponry, the nations, the missiles, whatever they have left over, all of it is going to be all destroyed, wiped off the map, right? Because there ain't going to be no need for it, right? And it says a fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame. And it says the land is as the Garden of Eden, right? So before these things hit, right, just to give you an idea, right? Well, you know, before these hit, okay, the land, is perfectly fine, right? The grass is green. There's animals, there's people, it's wildlife, plants, trees, right? Everything that considers the land to be at a normal state. All right, that's what's going to be going on, right? All right, and because it says the land is as a garden of Eden before them. All right, and it says, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yeah, and nothing shall escape them, right? So after these these missiles, these nuclear missiles touch down, guess what, man? They're gonna basically be what, a wilderness, man. Okay, there's not gonna be nothing left. It's gonna be a complete desert land according to the scriptures. All right. Okay, and it says the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Right. So they're gonna, they have the let's see if I could get another picture. Right. Because when the horses line up for battle, they line up in rows, right, in the ancient times. So the same thing, is applied here, man. Okay. Um, see if we get some ranks here. Similar to something like this here. Okay. Just, imagine in ancient times you had horses lined up in a row and then they would go, and basically run into battle. The same thing here, right? Certain amount of missiles will be shot off, then another certain amount of missiles will be shot off, right? It's the same concept, all right? Pretty much. And it says, like the noise of chariots on the top of the mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoured the stubble. As a strong people sat in a battle array. It says, before their face the people shall be much pain. Right, because imagine seeing nothing but a bunch of nuclear missiles, you know, really before you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gonna be looking like, what can you do? How can you escape? You can't escape them, right? The scriptures just say that none of them, no one's gonna escape them. Okay, and it says all faces shall gather blackness, right? They're gonna be, completely at all, obviously scared, crapless, and there's not gonna be any remedy, for how they gonna feel, man, at that time. All right. Now, this is the point I really wanted to get. Well, they had a little bit more, but I'm gonna might go down to maybe like verse 9, right? It says, they shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like the men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, right? So, like I said, I mean, the missiles are going to be shot off from all over. There's an innumerable different spots, all over the planet, okay, where they're hiding these things. But, like I said, imagine a few being shot off, then another few being shot off, and they just one behind another, just, okay. And it says, they shall, and it says, and they shall not break their ranks. So the Lord, whatever the target is, okay. And that's why I was saying these missiles are spiritually guided, right? And the title of today's lesson is the missiles will come through with perfection, right? Because it says they're not going to break their ranks. So imagine, if these missiles pretty much wasn't spiritually guided, and you're launching a whole bunch of them, from all over, everywhere, you may have some that fail, you may have some that hit each other or something like that, or whatever. But these aren't going to do that, right? All the ones that spiritually guided by Yahweh Shema Shai, that's it. It's over. It's just over, Wherever it's designated target, it's going to hit, right? And it says, neither shall one thrust another, right? So they're not going to hit each other, right? We're just saying that. And it says, they shall walk every one in his path, and when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. And it says, they shall run to and fro in the city, they shall run upon the wall, they shall climb up upon the houses, They shall enter in at the windows like a thief, man. So basically, this is, just another way of saying, man, they're going to be everywhere, right? There's no escaping it, right? On the walls, on the houses, in your window, wherever you think you're safe, you're secure at, it's not going to happen, or whatever the case may be. The Lord, if you're not a part of the elect, right? You're done for, you know. All right, let's go ahead and get another precept real quick. Something else to back that up. Let's see. Go in. All right, this is Jeremiah 50. It's like it. Jeremiah 50 and verse 9 says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country." And it says, "And they shall set themselves in array against her." So a lot of nations are going to be against Babylon the Great, aka America, right? All right. And it says, "For thence she shall be taken, their arrows," and these are the arrows, okay? Just to give you another, when the scriptures talk about, when it talks about these arrows, these are the ones that it's speaking on or whatever, okay? He's talking about these missiles, okay? These nuclear missiles. All right, I'll just click on this picture here. All right. All right, and it says, "Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man," right? And it says, "None shall return in vain." So none of them is going to go out, having no meaning, pointless, of no value, right? They're all going to have value, right? They're all going to have meaning, and they're all going to have purpose, right? And that's to hit their targets, to destroy, Babylon the Great, and other parts that's slated to be hit by Yahweh Shema Shah, the Lord. Okay, that's it. Let's go and we'll get one more. Close out. Let's see here. Maybe around there. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows," right? We just said what the arrows was, just to give you another look-see, okay? These are those arrows, right? Remember, this is a, ancient man speaking about basically, a vision, that he's being shown from Yahweh Shema Shai, man. Okay, but it says what? His arrows, okay? It said, I'm gonna read it again. It says, "So strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss." Okay, this is that, those nuclear missiles, powered by Yahweh Shema Shai, coming into perfection, man. Coming to make a destruction perfect, right? It says, "And shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world," right? So we know this not talking about regular arrows, because what arrow can you shoot and it be shot off and it goes to from one end of the world to another, right? This is giving you that visionary, okay? This is giving you the vision of what the Lord is talking about, okay? As far as the missiles, all right? And is I'm not gonna go back up and read the first couple of verses, but yeah, it says, I'm gonna read it again. It says, "It shall not miss," right? They're all gonna hit their targets, okay? And it says, "When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world," all right? And it says, "Behold, the plagues are sent." Okay, these nuclear missiles are sent out and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. Okay, so the Lord, has it to where they will be shot out, and the return is that of, what we've been speaking on. Okay, is that of hitting its targets. Okay, And it says the fire is kindled, right? So what arrows, um, that produces, a fire, okay? These are the arrows that produce fire. Now back in ancient times they'll put a piece of cloth with some oil or something on it, light it on fire, shoot it, and it will burn villages down. But this is not what it's speaking on. Okay, this is speaking on the nuclear capability that Esau Edom has through the spiritual demon Satan, man. But ultimately the Lord's in control of all of this. All right, it says, and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Okay, and it says, because those nuclear missiles are going to cause a massive amount of destruction. All right, and it says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer. Okay, so same way arrow, the same way it says like, right? So the same way an arrow shot of a mighty archer, return it not backward, right? Because once you press these buttons, man, you can't, you can't take it back, right? If you have a so-called, firearm, and you shoot the firearm, you can't just bring the projectile back, okay? Once you're shot, that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just gonna go to whatever it's coordinated to go to. And it says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returning not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. You nations are in trouble. Y'all in, you heathens, you Gentiles, okay? Right? If you're not a part of the elect, man, you in trouble, man. Ain't nothing else to say about that. So, get ready for, the return of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had through the spirit of the power of Yahweh Shema Shai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. First and foremost to the whole elect. Hey, look, the title of today's lesson though was "The Missiles Will Come Through with Perfection," man. They're spiritually guided by the Lord, man. They're not gonna break their rings. They won't miss. They're not gonna thrust each other through. It's gonna be a beautiful, a perfect destruction by Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, the Lord is coming to set fire on the earth, but fire will already be here, man. Right? The Lord is just coming to basically, what they say in the world, basically add insult to injury, or, type of thing here, They show you that He's a power to be regarded, man. But and held at high regard, you know. But like I said, that's pretty much all I got through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. First and foremost to the old elect, but prior to getting out of here, we want to give our infinite honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, who rule and teach above. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the whole elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, Kwam Yasha Allah, Ababa Ball, and Shalom.